Right, okay then, thank you very much, Sarah.
Thank you, Virginia, and thank you everyone for coming here today. To have a presence like this in a public place says a lot about who we are as people and who we are also as a nation. I'm very blessed to be in the position that I am for my job. I'm a senior rhino keeper at Hamilton Zoo, and I'm faced daily with 5 beautiful, majestic animals, and they remind me that on the other side of the world there's something really going on, and the world needs to know about it. We know about it, us here know about it, but the whole global community that we have needs to know about it. Rhinos, like all wildlife, are struggling in their ecosystems, but they're also struggling because they have body parts that other humans desire to own. For a rhino, they have a horn on the end of their head. They have 2 horns if they're a southern white rhino, and that horn erupts when they're about 8 weeks old. It's a little button when they're born. It erupts when they're about 8 weeks old, and it continues to grow through their whole life. It can end up 1.8 metres long, it can end up a foot long. It just depends on what that rhino does with their horn. Now that rhino's horn is their only defence. Rhinos have got lovely big jubbly lips, as I call them, because they eat grass. They don't have front teeth, so they use their lips to eat grass. Therefore their horn is their defence. They can't kick, they don't bite, they don't run, they don't climb a tree, they don't go in the water. Their only defence to protect themselves, their territory, their young, is their horns. Without their horns, they can't go about their daily life, they can't actually live a life because they are then predated on. As you can see in this picture over here, this is what a rhino looks like when they're poached. Not a very nice sight at all. A rhino is usually alive when this is happening. People come in, highly organised criminal syndicates are flying around in helicopters in South Africa as we speak, because it happens every 9 hours, preying upon these animals that live out on the savannah. They live a generally carefree life. Their only predators are us, and therefore all they do really all day is enjoy the sun, mud wallow, and enjoy eating. Rhinos out there on the savannah are easy prey. Helicopters come in, people land with automatic weapons, drugs, veterinary technicians on board, animal rangers that have helped them track those animals. And those animals are immobilised. They're not necessarily killed, they're immobilised. If they shoot them in the leg to immobilise them and get them down, then that's all they will do, because an extra bullet costs money or more drugs cost money. So a rhino is generally left conscious as their head is hacked with an axe. To get a rhino's horn out, the rhino's horn is connected to its skull by connective tissue. So a rhino's horn actually has to be hacked out of its head to draw it out. A white rhino has 2 horns, so obviously that horn is coming from up the top, and also their second horn as well. So the rhino's conscious, the poachers leave, and that rhino is left to bleed, basically, bleed out, left to die out on the savannah. Often if it's a female and she has a young calf with her, or if she has other subordinate females, adolescent females at her heels, they are also taken as well. Now little calves, like I said, their little horns pop through when they're about 8 weeks old. So the extortionate rate that rhino horn is sold at, $82,000 per kilo, a little rhino's horn is still worth an extortionate amount of money. So that little rhino calf is also taken along with its mother. Every 9 hours this happens, and it happens in broad daylight. It happens in Kruger National Park. It's the most hard-hitted park in South Africa at the moment. Just last month, there was the first ever International Youth Rhino Summit in South Africa, home to the southern white rhino. Amazing group of young people, 100 of them from around the world, representatives of each of their countries, from Vietnam, from China, where the demand is, came together to act responsibly and to go home as ambassadors for conservation and for wildlife. Now here in Auckland we have an amazing rhino conservation trust. It's called I Make a Difference. They've got their signs here and over here. Now this company they fundraise and give a lot of money to projects in South Africa helping to conserve the white rhino. And they provided the opportunity for 3 New Zealand representatives to go to that summit. 3 students from high school, Two of them are here today to let you know exactly what went on and what the plan is, what's actually going to happen now. What's it like to be in South Africa right now in the front line of white rhino poaching happening? So we have two wonderful ladies here today. Briar Renshaw is going to take to the mic first, followed by Anna Mathers. Please welcome them to the microphone.
Rhinos are being poached by international crime syndicates for nothing but their horns. They've already been saved from extinction twice in the past 100 years. Now they're being killed again in increasing numbers and will reach a tipping point if the slaughter isn't stopped. Anna and I were two of three New Zealand delegates to attend the inaugural World Youth Rhino Summit in South Africa last month. It was held in the Mfolozi Game Reserve, home to the world's largest white rhino population. Over 3 days, 140 teenagers from around the world identified causes of the rhino crisis and found solutions for them. We listened to renowned conservationists, including Dr. William Folds and Dr. Ian Player, visited a rhino orphanage, and saw a live poaching simulation to see how rangers risk their lives every day to protect these magnificent animals. Today we're going to outline for you three of the biggest issues and the solutions that we found for them. The first problem is in Africa. Many poachers come from very poor communities. The reward for killing a rhino is enormous for them, 10 years of income, even though it's tiny compared to the retail value in Asia. These communities have never had a connection to the parks, so they don't see the value of wildlife and conservation. This makes it much more likely for them to resort to poaching. Even within game reserves, corruption and neglect poses a major problem. It prevents measures that guarantee poachers will be caught. If they are caught, weak laws mean poachers aren't convicted and walk free, so they kill rhino again.
There are many ways we can tackle these issues. Firstly, money can be invested into the communities that surround the parks, providing jobs and basic standards of living so that people don't need to poach for a source of income. Secondly, good relationships need to be built between the game reserves and the communities surrounding them. Education programs in local schools can teach children the value of wildlife conservation. They will support protection when they understand that rhinos are worth more to the community alive than dead. Thirdly, we can petition African governments to do two things: strengthen protection in game reserves, making rhino poaching harder, and secondly, enforce stricter laws and penalties so that caught poachers pay the price. But Africa is only one end of the problem. The current poaching crisis is largely due to the growing demand for rhino horn in Asian countries, primarily Vietnam and China. This demand is because of the false belief that rhino horn has medicinal value. People believe that rhino horn can be used as an aphrodisiac or as a cure for things from hangovers to cancer. But rhino horn is actually made of keratin, the same material found in our hair and fingernails, and is scientifically proven to do none of these things. Despite this, the horn is still worth more than gold and cocaine when sold. Demand also comes from rhino horn gifting for family members and business colleagues. This is a symbol of social status for the affluent middle class in Asia. It has become part of the culture, so despite being illegal, it is difficult to stop the trade. So what can we do?
There are three areas we can target to reduce demand: education, media, and government. A long-term goal is reducing future demand. This can be done through education about rhino horn in schools, teaching young children that it has no medicinal value and that it is wrong to buy or use it. Teaching young adults the effects the rhino horn market has on rhinos and the world, giving them the information to make their own moral decisions against buying in the future, so stopping the cycle before the next generation. The second thing is to make it unacceptable to use rhino horn, through advertising campaigns using people of influence such as celebrities and public figures, and through influential retailers promoting non-use. If it is not acceptable to gift rhino horn, demand from the wealthy will stop. And through government, stricter enforcement for bans on rhino horn trade, so we can close loopholes by successfully prosecuting and sentencing couriers, buyers, and exporters. So the final problem, and this is where all of us here come in, is in the rest of the world's lack of awareness and lack of motivation to help the cause. Tourists add to the demand when they go overseas and buy rhino horn products, unaware of the consequences it has. Wildlife crime is seen by many as something that happens far away, something that doesn't affect us, or something that we can't help. This needs to change.
We need your help to spread the word about this crisis by telling your friends and family and sharing information on social media platforms. Anything you can do to help build awareness in New Zealand and around the world. We need to encourage and support fundraising initiatives to save the rhino, like today's march and the Rhino Day that was held at the Auckland Zoo the week before last. There's another fundraiser at the zoo in November where you can meet some of Africa's most spectacular wildlife and enjoy an authentic African dinner. Every small act of support like this can make a difference. Speaking of which, the foundation that funded our trip to Africa is called the I Make a Difference Foundation. I Make a Difference donates money towards projects such as hiring educators, adopting rhinos, and funding rewards for information that leads to a poaching arrest. Through I Make a Difference, you can help by buying a bracelet or a t-shirt, or simply making a donation. During the march, we're going to be holding up banners like these, so come and find us and grab a brochure. Lastly, speak out against rhino poaching and wildlife crime at every opportunity. If all of us raise our voices against rhino poaching, we can bring about change. Simply read, share, comment, sign, and be active about rhino survival. Like the motto at the World Youth Rhino Summit.
Yeah, Vosia Batanda. Let our voices be heard.